The text of the amendment that we propose reads, "Women shall have equal rights in the United States and every place subject to its jurisdiction. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex." If you don't agree with those words, if you do not believe that women should have equal rights, I want to know who you are. And I think all of us deserve to know. We deserve to know who you are so that we can make a choice. We can make the choice not to do business with you or work for you or entrust our children to you or cast our votes for you. Because what we do know, what all of us have seen, proven beyond a doubt, is that our country's 200-plus year history of subjugating women has come at a devastating price. In recent months, we have heard an outpouring of firsthand accounts about what life as a second-class citizen in this country is like. We've heard about the injustices women suffer every day in our relationships, in our streets, in our communities, in our court systems, and in our healthcare system, and especially in our workplaces. The data tells us that 1 in 3 women has experienced sexual advances from a man they work with. Really let that sink in. 1 in 3 women. And we're not just talking about actresses or celebrities, although those stories tend to get the most coverage. And we're not only talking about women who work at universities and tech companies and in the United States Congress. We're talking about women who work in hotels and women who work in hospitals. I will remember for the rest of my life, I read article after article about prominent men accused of sexual assault and abuse, and the more I read, the more I realized that I was getting fed up with hearing about the predators. I thought it was time we started hearing from the women they had victimized instead. And my friend Charlotte sent me a message with the idea. A call to action first sounded by a woman named Tarana Burke. It was once a small act of solidarity and a chance to illustrate the enormous scope of the problem. If you've been sexually harassed or assaulted, reply with "me too." I tweeted those words, simple. By the next morning, 53,000 women have responded. By the next evening, the hashtag #MeToo had been used more than 12 million times in 85 different countries. And already it had become so much more than a hashtag. The words "Me Too" connected us through our pain, but they also connected us to our power. By sharing our stories in which we were the protagonists, we made clear that every single one of us is so much more than just the victim of someone else's actions. We are human beings fully deserving of equal protection, equal opportunities, and equal rights. And I believe we have finally gotten that message across, that when we are treated as anything else, we deserve equal recourse. We have waited 100 years for this moment right now. But if we want to ensure that this is a beginning and not an end, we need to use it to launch a new era for the Equal Rights Amendment. Why do we need the ERA? Well, for one, we've already seen that people act differently when they know they are being held accountable. Even the richest and most powerful men are finally seeing that no matter how rich and powerful they may be, there will be consequences for their actions. They're being shamed or fired or ostracized for their predatory behavior. But when men abuse women, they should be held accountable not only by the media, not only by their employees, not only by the public. They should be held accountable by our justice system. The Time's Up Legal Defense Fund is taking a crucial first step by connecting women who have suffered harassment and abuse to lawyers, but by enshrining our equal rights. In the United States Constitution, the ERA would guarantee these women are protected by the full force of federal law, too. Passing an Equal Rights Amendment would, for the first time in our country's history, open a pathway toward true gender equality. The ERA would set a norm for equal pay for equal work so that women can become full economic actors in our society. It would protect women from discrimination so that we do not have to make the impossible choices between earning a paycheck and having a family, between making a living and living in our own bodies. It would require states to enforce laws against gender violence so that police can no longer turn their backs on women like Jessica Lenahan or girls like her daughters whose deaths were preventable and whose heartbreaking story reminds us of the cost of our inaction. So for all of these reasons, for all of these women, for Jessica's daughters, for all of our daughters, we cannot afford to wait any longer. Ratifying the ERA would be a statement of principle. It would send a message to our daughters, it would send a message to our sons, it would send a message to every state in our country, and it would send a message to the world. These rights are our birthright, but enshrining them in our Constitution is our responsibility. That's because in a democracy, progress doesn't happen automatically. Democracy requires action by us, because at the end of the day, it is us. In 1776, the year our country declared independence, Abigail Adams wrote to her husband, John, urging him, remember the ladies, to be fair to us as he helped write this new code of laws for our new nation. Today, 242 years later, we no longer have to wait for anyone else to grant us our rights. We are standing up for each other. We are marching in the streets. We are running for office in record numbers. We are the ones holding the pens. And you and I are lucky that we get to be the ones to live through this new era. But with that comes responsibility to ensure that this moment, right now, lives up to its promise. And that's why we are here today, to put the ERA back on the agenda. My name is Alyssa Milano, and I'm here because I do not have equal rights under our country's Constitution. And I'm part of a movement that is not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere until the foundational document of our country insists loudly and clearly to us and to the world that women shall have equal rights in the United States and every place subject to its jurisdiction. Thank you so much for this time.
Bad boy.
Oh, thank you.
How are you? Great to see you. Great, thank you. We're waiting on the great old. And now it's my great honor to introduce Alyssa
Milano, who is an activist, and she will be testifying at our hearing that will take place in just 2 hours. Thomas Paine once said, "Don't send me any summertime warriors." Well, I can tell you she is not a summertime warrior. She has worked so hard on this, met with so many people, selflessly used her star voice, I would say, to convince and to talk to legislators on the other side of the aisle, on both sides of the aisle. She's already secured a public hearing in January, but what I really admire about her, she is not afraid of anything. She's effective. We call her our fearless girl. Thank you, Alyssa, so much for you bringing your.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman, Congresswoman. I keep calling you Congressman because I don't know why. Thank you, because we're not in the Constitution. That's why. Congresswoman Maloney, and I also want to thank Congresswoman Spears for really being the only voice that women have had in government for many, many years. I am here today. My name is Alyssa Milano, and I am here because women are not guaranteed equal justice under the law of our Constitution. In 1923, the Equal Rights Amendment was first proposed by the National Women's Political Party. It stated that the amendment was to provide the legal equality of the sexes and prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Almost 100 years later, and we are still fighting for equality. We are still fighting for this belief that equal means equal. Lack of recognition of women's equality in our Constitution perpetuates this idea that women are less than, which then can lead to unequal treatment, abuses of power, sexual harassment, and assault. The ERA will prevent protection laws from being repealed and women's progress from being rolled back. The ERA will ensure that the rights of women and girls will not be diminished by any politician, but instead be a basis for the rights guaranteed in the Constitution. The ERA is also an economic issue. The ERA will promote equal pay for equal work, and it is proven that when women earn more, it actually does stimulate the economy. Gender equality would boost the economy by over $4.3 trillion over a decade. And passing the ERA would put the full weight of our Constitution behind employment laws relating to the prevention of sex discrimination in hiring, firing, promotions, and benefits. An ERA can protect women from being harmed by a policy simply because they are women. People have said to me in the last few days, why are you fighting for this? We already have equality. And they have truly been shocked when I've said to them, no, we don't. Women are not protected under the United States Constitution. And truly, the only guarantee we have in the Constitution is the 19th Amendment, which is a woman's right to vote. This is truth. This is fact. Women came together in the last year to say, "Me too." We supported each other when we held men accountable by saying, "Time's up." Well, I'm here today to say the time is now to pass the ERA so that all citizens of our country have the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Yay!